Time to build a new modular building. It is the Jazz Club. It has been a while since we have built a modular building here. So let's get straight into the build. I know that I am a bit weird, but I really like this part. And then onto the build. As usual, we are building this on a dark bluish grey baseplate so that it matches better with the buildings that we already have. The human helpers are also using their standard method of 2 sets of instructions, so Mrs. Human Helper can get the parts ready while Mr. Human Helper still builds the previous step. The first part to be built is the tiling for the street. No surprises there. And then we move on to tiling the floors and putting in the first bricks for the walls. The big area closest to you is going to be the actual jazz club. And the black and white area on the other side is going to be a pizzeria. And the grey and tan area in the upper right corner is going to be an outdoors area. After the floor tiling is complete, the instructions call for a small washroom in the middle of the build. Eventually, the stairs to the second floor will be built over it. So the washroom just utilizes the space under the stairs. And now we're reaching the point where we can add some bricks for the walls. Pizzeria contains a wood-fried oven, and that has a nice chimney that will go through the floors, up to the roof of the building. A cabinet that contains chopped wood for the oven is added to the backside of the building. And the final part being built out of this back is a stage that is placed in the corner of the jazz club. The back number 3 contained lots of bricks for the walls and some doors. But before that, some details needed to be built, like this brick-built cello case. And some tables and chairs for the jazz club. And also quite a lot of details for the pizzeria, including all the pizza ingredients. After all those details, it was time to add all the bricks and doors to the build. Some arch pieces were used to complete the stairs. And the last bricks from this back were added in. The other walls of the build were starting to take shape, but the front facade was still wide open. Luckily, the next back contained quite a lot of windows, so we were able to fix that at this point. Some pillars were also added to the front facade of the pizzeria. The walls of this building also contained the color change for the higher parts. Light grey for the jazz club part and white for the pizzeria. On top of those, the usual tiling was added to complete the walls of the first floor. And finally, a trellis with some greenery was added to the side of the building. Then it was time to open yet another back and complete the facade of the building. After adding in some lights and awnings, it was time to build the main door. In addition to the door, there is a ticket sales window next to it. That was built as a separate module because it would be placed in a 45-degree angle. And as that was the final piece for the first floor, it was time to move on to the second floor. As usual, the floor section is built out of smaller plates to ensure proper size and any openings to the first floor. This second floor will contain 2 sections, same as the first floor. This reddish-brown section will contain club manager's office and sort of a hallway section that has the stairs, a small balcony, and doors to the other sections. Hopefully there is no need for the club manager to work at the same time when there is a band performing in the jazz club, because there is a big opening in the floor directly above the stage. One interesting build technique here is the connection of the future yellow section to this reddish-brown section. As you can already see, the connection is made with Technic bricks and Technic pins instead of interlocking the bricks normally. If you would build that with interlocking the bricks, either of those parts would have the other color showing in corners or wherever the color would change. Of course, this can be avoided if you don't interlock the bricks, but then you have to create the connection some other way, like those Technic pins. This yellow part in the second floor will continue the chimney from the oven of the pizzeria downstairs. Next, it is time to add some interior details to this section. This is going to be a tailor shop, so a sewing machine, a mannequin, and some fabric racks are added. The front facade of this building is actually built out of nougat bricks and white windows, but yellow columns are added in front of that wall to integrate those colors better in. After that, we only need to add the tiles to the top and some hanging flowers to complete the second floor. The third floor will have quite a similar shape compared to the second floor, with the exception that the yellow part of the building does not continue to the third floor. Also, the interior dimensions of this section are slightly smaller, as there are slope pieces on the back wall that bring it closer to the front. In this floor, we are going to have sort of a backstage room for the jazz club. Here, any artists that are going to perform can get ready for their performance. One interesting feature of this build is that the windows on the main facade are built out of colorful transclear bricks. It is something that I have not seen in other modular buildings, and it gives this building quite a unique look. Interior details for this room include a sofa and a makeup table. Once those interior details were in, it was time to add more height to the walls and put any windows in. There was a sort of a déjà vu feeling because, of course, we had done all this already on the previous floor. As there won't be a third floor on the yellow part of the building, the door that you can see there leads actually on the roof of the yellow section of the building. And that means that the third floor of this building is now complete. Obviously, the building is still missing the roof sections, so those will be built next. The first is the roof for the main part of the building. There is an access hatch, so you can use the ladders in the third floor to access the roof. There isn't much going on the backside and the sides of this roof section, but at the front there are some architectural features that fit on top of the windows of the previous floors. Those included some pretty interesting build techniques. And finally, a squirrel's nest completes the build. Then it was time to add the vertical jazz club sign to the front of the building. It was quite surprising to see it built at this late point. The final section that was still missing was the roof for the yellow section of the building. That completes the chimney of the oven from the pizzeria. there is also a small greenhouse on top of the roof here. Here the guy owning the pizzeria can grow all sorts of ingredients for his pizzas. And finally, it was time to add the details to the street. A table, some chairs, street light, and of course all the minifigs. As usual, I have instructed Mr. Human Helper to place all the minifigs on the street so that they can be easily seen. Here you can see him modifying the position of the jumpers on the street so that the minifigs can be attached to whatever scenes he is creating. I still count any set built like this to be built according to the instructions. And here you can see how the minifigures ended up there. On the left hand side, we have the magician performing a magic trick for the jazz singer. Next, the bass player is showing off his instrument to the other member of the band. Next, we have a couple that are about to receive their pizza. And finally, we have a delivery guy ready to hop on his motorcycle and deliver that other pizza. So, that was the Lego Jazz Club modular building. I think it is a great looking building, and I am glad that I added it to my collection. And human helpers seemed to have fun while they were building it. Of course, we didn't have time to take a detailed look of the building, but no worries, we're gonna do that in the future. But not yet in the next video. Apparently, May the 4th is coming up, so I'm pretty sure that the next video will have something Star Wars themed in it. But we will get back to the Jazz Club after that. If you don't want to miss out those future videos, you should consider hitting that subscribe button down there. I will upload more videos ASAP, but remember, when a Sloth says that, it means as slowly as possible. Bye bye!